Hey YouTube, it's Kel. I just wanted to pop on briefly tonight and wanted to do a really semi-quick broadcast or podcast on just a concept that we're going to build on in the future. So tonight we're going to be talking about the conscious mind versus it's been called the unconscious and also the subconscious. So for the night, I might call it either tonight, some people may feel it's different. Those two things are different, but I generally think of them as the same. So it's the conscious mind and the subconscious or the unconscious mind. And so we're going to just talk briefly about it. The terms are thrown around a lot in society, so a lot of people may just already know what I'm talking about. But I wanted to clarify this because in the future, we're going to be doing a couple podcasts, whatever, they're the same, I guess, on, different things that are going to build on this concept. So things like, we'll talk about cognitive distortions. We're going to talk about, like the anima and the animus, if you've ever heard of that. So things that we'll be building on what we talk about tonight. So I want to do this one first because if you don't understand, if some people don't understand the conscious and the unconscious mind, they won't understand future concepts when we talk about those other things. So, okay. Excuse me, my cough is bad today. So, okay. We are going to talk, I printed out this diagram. It's essentially Freudian, Freud was the one who originally is pretty well known for this concept. And I don't know if you guys have ever seen or heard of the iceberg, where basically it's a representative of the mind, and it essentially says, it kind of cuts it off at the top, and I'll show you. I actually printed this out, but it basically, I actually don't know where this is from. It looks like Lahira Company Essential Wellness, but it's basically the same, general concepts as Freud was using. So hopefully they're okay with me using this. But okay, so basically, as you can see, it says your mind is like an iceberg, and the top part of it you can see, right, very clearly. And then the bottom part, there's like this huge, portion of reality or your mind where you may not be aware of it, but it's there. So we're going to give you some examples of that. But Freud really thought, and I think the proportion was, this says 10% of our minds are the conscious mind and 90% of the unconscious or subconscious mind. I think that's still debatable, what proportion it is, but it's very well known that our conscious mind is just a small fraction of our unconscious mind, and our unconscious mind is a lot about what actually ends up forming our behaviors and our thoughts and everything like that. So I'll explain. But first of all, when you think of the conscious mind, essentially, I often think of the present moment, what you're aware of. So it's basically like if I had to say, your conscious mind is like awareness, so things that you're aware of kind of in the moment, very quick, you can bring them up. Like, if you were talking to someone, it'd be very easy to bring up your conscious mind thoughts, right? So here it says, like, anything you analyze is part of the conscious mind in terms of, like, because you're talking about current things that you're aware of. So you can't analyze something if it's not already in your conscious mind, right? Also, like, thoughts and plans, current decision making, things like that is just a part of your conscious mind. Also, your current feelings, like if someone were to ask you how are you feeling and you sat there and thought about it, you would end up answering with a conscious thought, right? So now granted, there might be more to it than that, but you would end up, essentially it's in the moment, but you also can switch the topics of your conscious mind kind of around. So it's not always like mindfulness where you're fully present on the moment. It's more just like what you're conscious and aware of in the now. So now the unconscious is basically all of the things that you have accumulated throughout your life that you are not aware that you have accumulated. Okay, in terms of, this could be environmental things around you that you pick up on. I don't know if you've ever gotten that like thought, excuse me, hold on. The thought of you just not feeling maybe physically safe around someone or something like that, that could be because your unconscious mind is picking up on something that your conscious mind is not aware of. So it could be something environmental, like environmental stimuli. It could also be, we're going to go into, but it could be things like belief systems. So not just like current your aware beliefs, but belief systems that, and we'll get into it, they can be rational or irrational, but they're basically like patterns of beliefs that you have, right? So that can be in your unconscious mind, because, and it takes it takes some thought to bring those into the light and get you aware of, oh, what are my belief systems about that? So another one is dreams belong into the unconscious mind, obviously, right? Because when you sleep, like when you're sleeping, you're not conscious. Now, lucid dreaming is interesting because, so typical dreaming is like you're not aware you're not in your conscious mind while you're sleeping, But so most people dream in their unconscious mind, with their unconscious mind, and it is busy like kind of processing all of the stuff that is in the bottom of the iceberg. Now lucid dreaming is very interesting because that is actually when you become conscious in your unconscious dream. So that's actually a very interesting concept of kind of where the worlds meet. But I would say some people think that like psychic intuition can be in your, I don't know how much, I don't know what I believe on that topic, but I do think intuition can definitely be in your subconscious mind, because basically, and I wasn't meaning to discredit psychics. I just think some can be good and some can be not good, just like a lot of different things. So, but in terms of your intuition, a lot of times is because your unconscious mind is picking up on something, and it could be like even some kind of it's picking up on something that your conscious mind is not picking up on. So that is a very interesting concept, right? Because that might be another way for you to kind of tap into your unconscious, is to tap into your intuition more. So also long-term memory. Okay, so I'm going to give you an example. So if we were just talking in everyday conversation, right? And in your conscious mind, you would not be thinking about the house that you grew up in when you were 5. Okay? So just like in an everyday conversation, someone's talking to you about the movies, you're not going to be thinking about the house that you grew up in when you were 5. But it's there in your unconscious mind, because then if I were to ask you, okay, let's pull up what you remember about the house that you lived in when you were 5, and let's like really sit in it. Tell me about the rooms, tell me about the smells, tell me about, what else was in there, who was around, all those things, and kind of immerse you back into that house when you're 5. You see how what you're doing is you're bringing up long-term memories that have been long stored into the unconscious, and then you're bringing it up purposefully into the conscious mind in conversation. Okay, so it's like with this iceberg, the interesting thing is you can selectively pull things from it, right? So it just has to be, again, kind of purposeful and intentional usually. That's why some people like dream analysis, because it's a way to bring up that, like, whatever's in that subconscious mind. What is also another way, we did that free association exercise. So there's a lot of different ways, but basically, just so we're clear before future sessions, because again, we're going to do some talks on, one of the biggest things we'll talk about are like cognitive distortions, and also another podcast I'm going to do is defense mechanisms. And a lot of times defense mechanisms have to do with what your conscious mind is thinking versus what your subconscious mind is thinking. There's a difference, and almost like your conscious mind is trying to protect you from something. So it has defense mechanisms, but so that's or defend you from something or whatever. We'll get into it. But the point is that there's a conscious mind. When you think of your conscious mind, just think awareness. What are you aware of? Typically in the present moment, could be feelings, could be whatever, but it's typically in the now. Again, it can be topic to topic. It can be your thoughts can be all over the place, but it's what are you aware of kind of right now in the general scheme of things in your life. Habits can be, that's a whole different conversation. But so basically, when I say conscious mind, I mean, what are you aware of? When I say unconscious mind, I mean all of those other life experiences that have created, thought patterns, long-term memory, long-term beliefs about your self-esteem, dreams, stuff that you're processing. Again, I think I said long-term memory, but so basically you get the gist. We'll stop there for now because really that's the basic part of it that I want, the average person to just be aware so that when we talk about future episodes, we will be able to build on that. So sorry for all the coughing tonight. I don't know what's going on, but I hope that you are healthy and happy and doing well tonight. And I just wanted to pop on to say hello, and I will see you again next time. Thanks.